you like hiking and waterfalls and checking out streams and being in nature, well, that's what we're here to create in this backyard. So the main reason we're here today is because of Cynthia. She's always dreamed of having a koi pond, but she's at work today. So we're here to talk to her husband, Mike. Mike's a little meh about the pond, so we're gonna try and see if we can't convert him. And once you see this yard, you'll see why we can't wait to get this project started. So Michael, this actually was not your idea.
This is my wife Cynthia's idea. She started off with a saltwater fish tank, and then she just had this infinity for ponds and fishes, and she's always wanted a koi pond. We passed up on a property that had a small koi pond, and that was when she saw the property. She already had it in the back of her head. She was gonna do something.
This seemed to be mostly her idea and not so much yours, which is totally good with us.
I mean, she's 85% into it. I'm about 15% into it.
It's better than zero.
Yeah, it's not zero. I mean, I love nature. Outdoor, I'm not opposed to it. I love it. I just think maintenance, cost, money. I don't think I'm not gonna like it, but you know, it's like I said, it wasn't on my hierarchy of things to do.
Sure. Is there anything that you'd like to see us accomplish with this?
I want it to look 100% natural, like the house was built around it.
Right.
That kind of a thing.
Okay. Yeah, that's what we kind of try to specialize in, to make it look as natural as we possibly can.
Right.
Without pushing it too hard and forcing it and making it look like, oh, what happened over here? Why is this here? Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity, trusting us, and letting us do our thing with your wife's 85% idea. So I really appreciate it, and we'll follow up again. So this is the space that we're gonna be working with. What you see here is all covered in artificial turf at this moment. What we're gonna do is we're gonna rip it out, peel it back, and what we're gonna do is put in a 14 by 20 pond down in this section. It's gonna have a little bit of an intake bay, probably in this corner. We're also gonna have a stacked slate urn fountain feature within the pond area. The thing that I'm looking forward to the most is going up this little slope where we're gonna have about a 20-foot of waterfall and stream action, and that's all gonna be fed by a wetland filter up top. The reason I think the wetland filter is gonna be a great addition to this project is A, the filtration, you can't beat it, but B, they also have a pergola up there, so looking down from the top to the bottom, that wetland filter is just gonna look super natural, do its thing, serve a purpose, and also look really nice and something that you might find in nature. So stay tuned, and we can't wait to bring you the end results. So what we're doing here is removing some existing artificial turf, and what we are doing, Carlos is pulling up the actual carpet, and what's left behind is a bunch of staples and nails, and we're gonna do our best job to get every single one out, as we don't want these to end up in the excavation of the pond, obviously because we don't want it to puncture the liner. So what we got going on here is that we just finished marking out our rough layout for the pond excavation. We did this exercise yesterday with the homeowner. The first orange line right here is indicating a 14 by 20 pond. That's what we originally had. They came out, they looked at it, and of course, intuitively said, hey, can we make it bigger and put bigger boulders? So we are doing an upgrade. What was a 14 by 20 is gonna be a 16 by 22 with larger boulders. We had 24-inch boulders originally. Now we're gonna go up to 36-inch wide boulders. So that's what's marked on the outside with the white paint. It may not sound like a big difference, but just from a volume perspective and size from when you're standing on this deck here, it does make a substantial difference. And then the funnest part about this project is going to be the waterfalls that are gonna come crashing into this pond where I'm standing. So because we're going bigger on this pond from a length and width perspective, plus larger rocks, there's a couple of things that we have to keep in consideration. It's gonna actually make this pond build a lot more technically difficult than we had originally anticipated. So when we had the smaller footprint, we had enough room and access to be able to hit the pond from all the way around with that small machine. Now that we've upgraded the boulder size, we need a bigger machine. And because we've expanded the width and the depth of the pond, we're gonna eliminate the ability to use that large machine on the sides of the pond. So what we essentially have to do is build the pond in a couple of phases. So what we're gonna do is set up the machine back there, dig this first half of the pond, rock it in, fold the liner back, dig out the rest of the pond, rock that other half in, and then kind of march our way up towards the waterfalls. The limiting factor, at least on this side from the patio, one of the considerations was being able to set rock from this edge on top of this concrete in this patio. But because of the larger machine that we're gonna need for the larger rock, these posts are gonna limit our ability to swing back and forth and pick up rock and move it back over to the sides. So virtually now we only have one main access point to this pond with a larger machine to be able to set the larger rocks that we're now going to be putting in. So something that we run into all the time on projects are obstructions under the dirt or in the dirt as we're excavating. On this project here, we had a main line and an irrigation wire running right through where we were excavating for the pond. Fortunately enough, we have enough experience. Carlos is a master pipe fitter, and we're gonna reroute this irrigation line just around the pond to hug the side so it's out of our way and we could set some rocks wherever we wanted. Another thing that we ran into is this footing for this column. That was a little bit more predictable that this would be here. Fortunately for us, it's not gonna be too much in the way. We can definitely work around that. Other things that we've run into are rocky soil. So we have some import sand that we're gonna bring in just to provide a nice cushion for the bottom. But for the most part, we do expect every once in a while to run into certain things here and there. But how we work around them is what makes things a little bit more interesting every day. So for this project, we have a 50 by 25 foot roll liner. What we're gonna do with that roll of liner is cut it into pieces. For the pond, we're gonna cut that 50-foot piece into 30, so we're gonna have a 30 by 25 foot piece of liner. On this project, we're gonna actually put on top of the layer of sand bedding that we put in, we're gonna put 2 layers of fabric, sandwiching the liner, and then another 2 layers of fabric on top, just to make sure we have a nice cushion because we have some rocky conditions out here on this project. So when we're laying out our fabric and our liner in our ponds, what we're always trying to do is keep it as straight and tight as possible. The reason we want it flat and tight is when we are importing the actual pebbles on top that are gonna cover the liner and the fabric up, we don't wanna see any wrinkles. So for this project, we have an intake bay. That's gonna take place of an actual standard skimmer. What we're gonna use is 3 large aqua blocks, a pump vault with an extension, and then we're gonna actually wrap it with some fabric. For the first part of it, water is gonna seep through that fabric, but over time, those little holes within the fabric are gonna clog up and the water is gonna draw from the top. So as we were finishing up installing our fabric and our liner in the pond, our first load of rocks came in and now we're ready to rock. So for this project, we're going to be using the same Desert Select or salt and pepper granite that we use on quite a bit of our projects. The reason we chose this rock on this property is because the actual rock color, the warm gray tones matched with what they already had existing going on. We do have other rocks that we could choose from, but we like to go with what is already happening within the yard so everything is cohesive. Because what we don't want to do is bring in a different type of rock that's going to clash with what's going on already within that given space. For the first rock that we set in this project, it usually sets a tone. In this case, it wasn't so exciting. Because of the way that we had to construct this in a couple of different phases, what we chose to do is start with the first rock that was going to frame one of our fish caves. So after we set that first rock, we were on our way to setting the rest of the first shelf. So now we're gonna set one of the bigger rocks on the project. This one is gonna actually be a sitting rock.
Just like that, right? How it's sitting?
I don't know. So the idea is that we place a rock and it actually invites or entices people to come to that rock, sit on it, and dangle their feet into the water. I kind of like that. Don't you?
You can try that.
Let's try that. The goal of this project was to convert a meh kind of attitude into a believer by creating a water feature that looks so natural that it looked like the house was built around it. The initial plans of a 14 by 20 pond got upgraded to a 16 by 22 with larger boulders up to 36 inches wide, which changed our plan of attack. So stay tuned for part 2, where we finish rocking in the pond, we set our stacked slate urn fountain in the pond, and we start building some waterfalls.